słyszeliśmy przez radio w Polsce, że 17 września 1939 roku Rosjanie przekraczają granicę i idą zajmować tę część Polski, którą się podzielili z Niemcami, bo z Niemcami zawarli pakt miesiąc przed tym, że pewną część Polski zabierają Niemcy, a część zostawiają dla Rosjan. Rosjanie troszeczkę się spóźnili, bo odciągnęli aż do 17 września. Rosjan spotkałem może około 20-21 września, jak doszli w naszą okolicę, bo nasza okolica jest jakieś 180 do 200 kilometrów od ruskiej granicy wtedy było, od sowieckiej granicy. Ruski ja nie używam, ruskie to jest w porządku, sowiecka to jest właśnie najgorsze, co można na świecie używać, to są Sowieci. I w tym czasie, no to już było tak dla sprawy Polski, to była wojna jak gdyby miała być skończona, więc trzeba było mimo wszystko zająć się niektórymi sprawami, pomagać ojcu na gospodarstwie. Wyjechałem z drugim mężczyzną, wyjechałem do lasu po drzewo, bo normalnie trzeba przecież przygotować się do zimy. I na przestrzeni spotkałem wojsko sowieckie idące po głównej drodze, tak od strony Radziechowa do miasta Busk, tam skąd żona pochodzi. No i myśmy jechali jakieś 4 kilometry tą drogą, którędy przeszli Sowieci. I na tej drodze spotkałem w rowach leżące zdechłe 5 koni. To znaczy, wyskoczyłem z wozu i sprawdziłem, co to za konie. Te konie miały w grzywach wkręcone tabliczki, to znaczy pochodzenie, kołchoz Lenina, tam jakaś obłaść i tak dalej, i tak dalej. Także Sowieci, jak ten koń zdechł, to poszli w następnej wiosce, zabierali jakiegoś u gospodarza konia i pojechali i sprawa się na tym skończyła. Same to wojsko to było tak jak wyglądało to, jakby już przeszli jakieś parę tysięcy mil. Buty podarte, jeden but, jedna onuczka. Śmierdziało to od nich tym dziegciem. Dziegieć to jest takie smarowidło, co ludzie gospodarczy na wsi używali do smarowania chomonta na konie i tak dalej, dla prezerwatywy skóry. No i a później, jak ja ich jeszcze spotkałem, za parę dni znów widziałem ich, też jechali w tym samym kierunku, bo to wszystko jechało na Lwów. Jechało też zmotoryzowany jakiś oddział. Ten zmotoryzowany oddział to były traktory, takie farmerskie traktory, które były porozbijane, pogubiły te łapy, które im potrzeba było, bo to jechali po szosach, a traktorem się nie jeździ po szosie takiej kamiennej, tylko po otwartym polu. I ciągnęli za sobą bardzo długie drabiny. Te drabiny to były chyba może jakieś po 50 yardów. I gdzie oni z tym jechali, po co, to chyba to chyba ich taktyka wojenna była przygotowana jeszcze jak za czasów tatarskich napadali na Lwów albo tego, to w ten sposób oni myśleli, że zdobędą Lwów. Tak, no i tak pojechali, a później spotkałem ich w mieście Busku, tam gdzieś ono jest, bo tam to było nasze najbliższe miasteczko i tam przyszedłem do tego miasteczka coś kupić, czy coś takiego. No i zauważyłem całą masę chodzących, włóczących się tych żołnierzy, maszerujących i tego, także od tego czasu myśmy się przyzwyczaili do nich. I co było z tym, że jak oni wleźli na jakiś teren z miejsca, ten teren był uznany sowiecki. To znaczy, że nie było wyjścia ani, chyba żeby człowiek uciekł, ale gdzie uciekać? Uciec stąd, to się ucieknie wtedy do Niemca, tamten drugi taki sam. No i co z nimi zrobić? I teraz będziemy mówić na przykład o... No i zaraz rozpoczęły się aresztowania na przykład wszystkich policjantów, którzy się gdzieś ukrywali, urzędnicy pocztowi, młodzi ludzie, inteligencja, nauczyciele i tak dalej. Ci byli aresztowani i wysyłani byli w kierunku Lwowa, znaczy do Lwowa do aresztu. Tam w areszcie po iluś tam tygodniach byliśmy prowadzeni do sądu po dwóch. Moim sędzią była kobieta, no gdzieś tak może koło 40, wstrętna kobieta, bo używała takich słów, jak może używać najgorszy chuligan na całym świecie. No i co przeczytała? Już wiedziała, że kto wchodzi do tej hali, wstała i przeczytała tylko, że wymieniła moje imię i nazwisko i przeczytała, że ja jestem skazany na 8 lat pracy w łagrach za to, że jestem niebezpiecznym elementem dla sowieckiego rządu. I na tym się skończyło. Mój kolega, ten co on to samo miał, też 8 lat. No i ona się zawsze pyta po tym, czy masz jakieś zapytanie. Ja się nie pytałem nic, bo co tam gadać tego. A ten przyjaciel to był Ukrainiec z naszej okolicy tam, więc zapytał się, czy po odsiedzeniu tych 8 lat on może wrócić do Polski. Ona mówi, skoczyła jak wściekła za tym swoim stołem i mówi, ty zobaczysz Polskę jak moją, i pokazała sobie tam w tym kierunku. Ten chłopak usiadł, zbladł i taki był zdziwiony, że czegoś podobnego mógł słyszeć. Stamtąd zabrali nas, nie wiem, w którym to miejscu było we Lwowie, bo Lwów znam, ale bo to się z tego więzienia wieźli nas do takiej ciemnej kibitki, włożyli po dwóch i na zewnątrz siedzieli kałudziści z karabinami. Z tego sądu wieźli nas prosto na stację kolejową. Na stacji kolejowej to byliśmy na Podzamczu. I tam przez jakieś 2 dni przywozili tych ludzi, do każdego wagonu, to znaczy używali wagony takie do przewożenia towarów. I w jednym wagonie było nas około 65 ludzi. Po 2 dniach ruszyliśmy w drogę przez Polskę, przez nasze tereny, tam niedaleko Buska. Z tego jechaliśmy w stronę Kijowa. Ale w pewnym miejscu, nie wiem gdzie to było, jaka to miejscowość, zawrócili na północ, jechaliśmy w stronę Moskwy. Naturalnie nigdy nie zatrzymaliśmy się na żadnej stacji osobowej, bo to był pociąg towarowy, to nawet nie było miejsca na to, no ale poszliśmy stamtąd, skierowali nas ale to sama ta podróż trwała jakieś 3 tygodnie. Po drodze w Sowietach jeszcze nie było wojny w tym czasie, a widzieliśmy poniszczone, powalone stacje kolejowe i tak przez te okienka pytaliśmy się tych ludzi, co tam na peronie chodzili, kto to zburzył te stacje. Mówił, o to jeszcze jak była rewolucja. No i tak jechaliśmy do Kirowa, a później dalej poza tym przez Gorki aż do Siemianowa, tak. No i tam później widocznie rozłączali gdzieś te pociągi, było nas kilka wagonów, tylko wjechało w takie tereny, gdzie się nazywa, gdzie były te łagiery. Tych łagierów w tej okolicy to było, tych punktów, to punkty takie nazywali, 1, 2, 3 do 35. Okej, teraz znaczy od początku trzeba to, co ja mówiłem o tym.
Nie od początku, to coś innego, tylko jak pan powie, niech pan powie, ile tam było ludzi.
W każdym baraku, w takim pokoju jak ten, to mieszkało na przykład 4 rodziny. To w każdym rogu była jedna rodzina, takie łóżka mieli z desek tego. Ci ludzie się ucieszyli, że ktoś przyjechał, więc zaczęli kombinować, że będziemy jechać do wojska, bo mówili, że jedziemy do wojska. Tam też oni wiedzieli, bo tam też do nich przyjechał NKWD i mówił, że są wolni i tak dalej, żeby młodzież jechała do wojska. Ale młodzieży samej nie puścili, wszyscy ludzie jechali. No i wtedy gdzieś tak w połowie listopada, 18 listopada ruszyliśmy w drogę. Tośmy byli 2 dni i 1 noc szliśmy z sanki, ciągnęliśmy do tej stacji Murashi. Z tej stacji Murashi dojechaliśmy do Kirowa. No i w Kirowie, co się ukazało, już jedzie cała masa transportów, szła właśnie gdzieś tam z Archangelska, czy skąd jechało wszystko dalej w stronę Uralu, a później skierowali się na południe do Uzbekistanu. I co się okazało? Ja przy pierwszych stacjach kolejowych zauważyłem, że ten pociąg, na który myśmy siedli, to jest coś nie w porządku. Tam już panował tyfus, plaga tyfusu była. I co się okazało? Jak pociąg przystanął gdzieś na jakiejś stacyjce, to było w pokoju, ludzie latali, szukali za jakimś drzewem, cokolwiek było, gdy znaleźć. I się okazuje, że jak pociąg ruszał, tak człowiek się wychynął z tego pociągu, patrzy się, a tam 1, 2, 3 umarłych ludzi wyrzucają z tego pociągu. No to było tak 2, 3, 4, tak jak się przyjeżdżało. Jechało się, im dalej się jechało, to więcej tych ludzi zmarłych było na tym. Jak się dojeżdżało już do samego Uzbekistanu, to niektóre wagony już były puste z tych, co ludzie mieszkali, jechało tam może po 60 ludzi, niektóre już puste były w tym. Dojechaliśmy do Uzbekistanu, no i tam naturalnie, no i co, ja też, rodzice zachorowali, ja zachorował, rodzice starzy zmarli, ja jakoś przeżył. I była taka doktorka, przyszła do mnie i mówi, że mówi do mnie doktorka, mówi, wy będziecie żyć. Ja się pytam, dlaczego? Dlaczego ty co takie zauważyłaś pewne? Bo od ciebie wszędzie nie uciekają. A tam, w tej Rosji, w tych Sowietach, najgorsza plaga, najgorsza zaraza to wszy, pluskwy, komary i każdy inny gnój, jakiego tylko można. No co, nie ma mydła, nie ma wody ciepłej, nie można wymyć się ani nic. Tego także ten. No i później z tego wróciłem do kołchozu. W kołchozie ze szpitala też, jak to mówią, zresztą ci Uzbecy nie lubili ruskich. Jak ktoś przychodził, to się odwracał i pluł na ten. Dopiero im musiałem wytłumaczyć, ja nie Ruski, ja Polak i tego, dopiero się do mnie ten. No ale ja przez 5 dni po przyjściu ze szpitala nic nie jadłem, nic nie piłem, bo nie było nic do ten. Dopiero stał się cud. Znalazłem, idąc tak przez kołchoz, bo to w 5. dniu to już człowiek zaczyna dostawać do takiego obłędu. Już mi tak przychodziło, że pójdę do tego miasteczka, wezmę jakieś pały, kija, ten kawodzista zdzielę po łbie i oni mnie zamkną i wtedy ja będę mógł, może mi dadzą kawałek chleba. Ale okazało się co innego, że idąc tak przez te kołchozy, zauważyłem, ja będę kichał. Zauważyłem, że jest jakaś takie maluśkie jeziorko. A tam oni dawniej hodowali gęsi. I w tym jeziorku była cała masa jajek tych gęsi. Ja to zacząłem od tych jajek pomaluśku wracać do zdrowia. No i tego zacząłem sprzedawać te jajka, później zacząłem sól brać w jednym kołchozie, sprzedawać tam, tak żeby jakoś na nogi stanąć. No i pewnego dnia śni mi się w nocy ojciec, że co ty tu robisz? Ja mówię, no czekam na zbawienie jakieś. Ja śpiewam, po co ojciec przyszedł? Ja przyszedłem ciebie przeprowadzić przez ten kanał. I naturalnie ja wszystkie graty pozbierałem. Na drugi dzień pojechałem do stacji na Mangan. I tam wyjechałem i tam trafiłem do wojska. Tak na ślepo. Pytałem się tych mężów zaufania, bo to był w Namanganie, jeszcze w innym miejscu tam był w tym, gdzie się wojsko tworzy, bo on jest jako delegat rządu polskiego, to powinien znać. A on mówi na końcu języka. I to był jakiś taki, mówił, że on jest zastępcą starosty z Katowic. Jak? Właśnie nie wiem tego, ale mówił, że on był zastępcą starosty w Katowicach. No i co? I także później stamtąd za parę dni wyjechaliśmy Krasnowodska. Z Krasnowodska przyjechaliśmy przez to Morze Kaspijskie i naturalnie znaleźliśmy się w Pachlewi. W Pachlewi było jak z tego naturalnie tam naprzód było odwszenie, mycie, kompanii i tak dalej, dawali nową, czystą bieliznę, to wszystko trzeba wyrzucić i spalić. Można by było zostawić tylko dokumenty i pas, na co. Resztę trzeba było spalić. I wtedy przenieśli nas w Iranie. Jak był ten szpital, Janciu, tam w pierwszym Iranie, jak myśmy stali, tam był. Ty byłaś już wtedy w tym szpitalu tam. W Iranie. W Persji. Trzeci, right. No i tam codziennie widziało się jak pociągi z Perskiej, tamtej Zatoki Perskiej szły przez cały Iran do Sowieckiego Sojuszu. Dzień i noc, tak jak oni dawniej wysyłali, dzień i noc szły pociągi z Rosji do Niemiec po tym zawarciu umowy tej Ribbentropii, Mołotow i Stalin i Hitler. Tak samo i tam dzień i noc szły te same pociągi. W tych pociągach paki jakieś ogromne, nie wiadomo, czy to samoloty były, czy co. No ale i tutaj spotkałem takiego gościa, który był tam. Właśnie on jeździł i dowoził, nawet jeździł do Rosji, tam w niektóre miejsca i tymi pociągami i tego, ale to był Amerykanin. On był w amerykańskim wojsku. Tego. No i później tam w Iraku byliśmy, do Iraku, do Kirkuku. Staliśmy koło Kirkuku i pilnowaliśmy te ropy naftowe, co szła z Mosulu do Palestyny, jako miejsca pracy. Wszystkie były podobne. One miały przestrzeń około takiego boiska sportowego, jak to tutaj się wyrazić można, tak jak futbol. Tam było kilkanaście budynków, także one mieściły przeważnie około 2 do 3 tysięcy ludzi. W tym obozie, gdzie ja byłem, to było jakieś 2000 ludzi i był lekarz. Lekarz to była kobieta, która nie była lekarzem, ona była akuszerką w cywilu, ale widocznie coś się nie udało i skazali ją na więzienie. A że znała mniej więcej coś z medycyny, jak trzymać termometr, jak wygląda termometr i no to ją dali tam na lekarza do tego obozu. I w tym obozie pierwsze co było spotkanie z tym doktorem, to przyszedł jakiś gość i powiada, że doktor ciebie wzywa. Ja nie byłem chory jeszcze, ale sobie myślę, po co ten doktor i kto jest ten doktor. Zachodzę tam i stoi jakaś taka stara baba, wstrętna. I ja się przedstawiam, że ja jestem, kto ja jestem. Ona mówi, o tak, to dobrze, to ja co posłałam po ciebie, bo ty masz eleganckie ubranie i to ubranie na tobie i pyta się mnie, ile lat ty dostałeś? Masz ja mówię 8. O, to widzisz, to ubranie za parę lat ci się rozsypie i nic nie będziesz miał. A mój narzeczony wyjeżdża na wolność, więc on chciałby to ubranie. Ja się pytam, a czym ja będę tego? Ona mówi, że mi da wszystko. I ta kobieta mnie wystroiła tak po łagiernemu, wszystko mi dała, watowane spodnie, fufajkę, pindżak, jak to nazywali, i czapkę taką budionowkę, no i walonki, buty, które były najcenniejszą rzeczą w tym. Bo mogło być 70 poniżej zera, a ja nie mając skarpetek w tych walonkach, w tych butach chodziłem bez żadnego kłopotu i było ciepło. No i tak zamieniłem to naturalnie. Z początkowo myślałem, że to będzie źle, ale to później przyznałem tej kobiecie, że naprawdę mi zrobiła przysługę. No i później ja już nie cierpiałem zimna i no później co tam jeszcze tego, co jakieś 2-3 tygodnie z początku to przyjeżdżał taki NKWD, nie wiem skąd oni przyjeżdżali, w każdym razie wzywali tak niektórych na przesłuchanie. Naturalnie tam się nikt nie mścił, nie bili tego, tylko mówili na przykład pewnego razu przyjeżdża i mówi do mnie takim podniosłym głosem, że ty jesteś pop. Pop to znaczy ten ksiądz ruski. Ja mówię nie, się zacząłem śmiać, dlaczego, co za sens. I dlaczego mnie nazywa popem? On mówi, bo tutaj ludzie mówią, że ty nie przeklinasz. Aha, no to później się tak zaczęliśmy o tym przeklinaniu, także on zrozumiał, że ja nie jestem popem. No praca sama to trzeba było, jak było napisane na tej jadłodalni. Kto nie pracuje, ten nie je. Więc trzeba było pracować i pracowało się tak z tym, że trzeba było wykonywać normę. Normę 100%. Jak wykonał normę 100%, to dostał pół kilograma chleba czarnego i 2 razy zupę na dzień, rano i wieczór. Chleb był kiepski, bo tylko skorupa była spalona, a wewnątrz było wszystko surowe. Więc skorupę się zjadło, a to, co było surowe, to się zrobiło taką kulę i włożyło się do kieszeni i na drugi dzień przy pracy trzeba było piec od nowa ten chleb. Później to tak było przez kilka tygodni, nareszcie przerzucili się na budowę elektryki koło tego łagiru, bo do tej pory używali latarnie. Zawsze wieczorem kilkadziesiąt latarni rozstawiali na takich słupkach, żeby ci ludzie, co stoją na wyżkach, ci 4, żeby mogli widzieć, czy ktoś ucieka, czy coś tam w każdym razie. No, zaczęli myśleć o budowie elektryki. Elektrykę miało się włączyć do takiej maluśkiej, oni to nazywali szpałureska. To była lokomobila, która ciągnęła piłę i na tej pile obcinali progi kolejowe, takie na 4 części. I do tej lokomobili dołączyli się dynamo. No i naturalnie w tym miejscu ja bardzo dużą rolę odegrałem, dlatego że ja musiałem zrobić cały plan, jak to będzie zrobione, jak będzie zbudowane i tak dalej. Na to mi dali 3 dni, ja zrobiłem plany dookoła całego tego, przedstawiłem do tego. Ja nigdy nie byłem ani elektromonterem, ani tym, tylko jak byłem od małego chłopca, jak chodziłem po mieście, widziałem, jak wyglądają słupy, to w ten sposób się sobie człowiek to zapamiętał. No naturalnie mieli te narzędzia do tego. I kiedy przedstawiłem ten plan temu naczelnikowi, naczelnik aż podskoczył z radości, bo zobaczył, że to wygląda na coś dobrego. No i powiedział, że żebym nie odchodził do roboty, absolutnie muszę czekać na inżyniera, który przyjedzie w dzień, 2. no ten inżynier, ja byłem zaskoczony tym, bo ja ani nie byłem, nawet bym nie umiał gadać z tym inżynierem w tej sprawie tej techniki całej elektrycznej. No, ale w każdym razie ten inżynier przyjechał, cały dzień rozmawialiśmy, ale nic o elektryce, tylko rozmawialiśmy, jak w Polsce było, jak to, owo, tamto. I kiedy odjeżdżał, to przyrzekł mi, że mi przyśle książkę taką, żebym się nauczył wyrazów tych z elektryczności. Takie, po polsku mniej więcej znałem, ale po rusku no to jest inna rzecz. Tak. Także już się robota prawie kończyła. Trzeba było tylko drut elektryczny, ten, który... Naczelnik wysłał zamówienie, przyszedł drut, woła mnie tam do tego, żeby przyszedł drut, że trzeba rozładowywać, a co się okazało, to przyszedł drut, taki kolczasty drut, jaki drut można używać w łagrach, żeby tylko kolczasty. No ja poszedłem na naczelnika i mówię, to jest niemożliwe, że tego, on mówi, nie ma żadnego tego, rób. Jak przyjdzie inny drut, to się wtedy będzie zmieniało. No i zakładaliśmy ten drut, tam naturalnie dołączyliśmy tylko tę elektrykę do jego kancelarii, bo to było tak w rogu, pierwsza buda. No i tę elektrykę założyliśmy tam w kilku dniach i tego, no i puściliśmy, włączyliśmy do tego dynama, on pędzi z tego łagieru, tam było jakieś może 200 metrów, pędzi z krzykiem, my myśleliśmy, może się co stało, może się pali tamte jego buda. A on się tak cieszył tym, że krzyczy, wrzeszczy, że jest elektryka, o boj. Tylko mówi, raz jest jasno, raz jest ciemniej, raz jasno, raz ciemniej. No i my mu musieli go przyprowadzić do tego, do tej piły. Jak normalnie puścili drzewo na tę piłę, to ta lokomobila przystawała. Jak przeleciało to drzewo przez tę piłę, lokomobila nie ciągnęła nic z tego, to znów podniosło tego. Także ta elektryka szła na dół i do góry. Na dół. I on, żeby się nacieszyć tym, że ma tę elektrykę, całą tę zmianę tych ludzi wygonił do baraku, bo on chciał całą noc tam siedział przy tym świetnie, że co to on nie narobił. No jak później tam się stało z tą elektryką, kto to zmienił, to nie wiem, ten drut, bo ja byłem później przeniesiony już na 8. punkt i z tego 8. punktu dojeżdżaliśmy jeszcze wykańczać niektóre rzeczy przy tej robocie, a na nasze miejsce i nas rozgonili wszystkich, cały ten obóz. Tam później przywieźli Polaków. Polaków przywieźli takie, to było gdzieś w kwietniu, na początku maja 1940 roku. No i tam myśmy jednak chodzili jeszcze z tego 8. punktu, przyjeżdżaliśmy i sprawdzali te światło. I pewnego razu wychodzę na ten i idzie malutka dziewczyneczka, może 2,5 roczku i z chłopczykiem, taki może 5-letni chłopczyk. I mówi po polsku, ja chcę do mamusi, ja chcę do mamusi. Ja się zainteresował tym, co to są za dzieci, może zabłądziło w tym albo coś. Ja się pytam tego starszego chłopczyka, gdzie wy mieszkacie? On mówi, tak odwraca się tamto. No to chodźcie tam do tego. I tam wychodzi kobieta Ja mówię, to pani się opiekuje tymi... No tak, ja się opiekuję, bo oni te dzieci przywieźli na stację, rodziców nie było w domu, to tylko te dzieci aresztowali i włożyli do tej stacji, na tę stację kolejową. I to dziecko przyjechało, no i, ale wiem, że później to dziecko, znaczy te dzieci, bo się dowiedziałem od innych nawet od znajomych Rosjan, że te dzieci zabrali pod opiekę, taki był naczelnik wtedy, jak te dzieci były, jak Polacy przyjechali na ten punkt, to wtedy dali naczelnika, nazywał się Pirożyński. I wyglądał tak inteligentnie, jakoś wyglądał, tak wysoki był mężczyzna i żona jego też tam była, tak widziałem, jak jeszcze ale to już były moje ostatnie dni tam na tym punkcie. I później z 8 punktu za pośrednictwem tego pierwszego mojego tego komandira na tym punkcie, co zaczynaliśmy budować tę elektrykę, zostałem skierowany na 6 punkt do trzymania tej elektryki. Ja nigdy nie byłem elektromontem, nigdy. Ale jak człowiek się stara o kawałek chleba, to musi się wszystko potrafić zrobić. No i tam w tym dużo jest do opowiadania, bo to życie takie jest, tak łatwo nie płynęło. Ale stamtąd właśnie z tego 6 punktu, gdzieś tak w połowie sierpnia, zostałem zwolniony na ten. Jak zostałem zwolniony? Tam już na tym punkcie, jak w 6, jak byłem, to tam spałem w tej elektrowni. Taka buda była też jakieś 100 metrów od łageru. Ale też jak przyjechałem tam, to mówili, jak ciebie zobaczymy 2 kilometry poza obrębem tego punktu, jeszcze dodamy ci 2 lata. No to ja już nie chodził nawet i siedział. Jak mnie trzeba było żeby ktoś jagody nazbierał albo grzyby, to zapłaciłem tam, dałem mu na papierosy, znaczy machorki nasypałem mu do ręki, to za to mi przyniósł ten, co mi trzeba było. No i tam na tym punkcie też, jak się okazało, no też tak człowiek sobie żył w tym, jak na przykład modlitwy, jakby mieszkałem na tym w dużym baraku, na ogólnej sali, to ja się nie modlił, nie klękał tak, jak tylko modliłem się tak siedząc, czy leżąc na tej pryczy, czy tak. A tam ja miałem pryczę zrobioną w tego, zrobiłem sobie światła, z tyłu 500 lampy były 500 watowe. Co jest z tyłu powiesiłem 2 z przodu pod stołem, także tam chodziłem sobie tylko w kapciach. Tak. No i jak się skończyło, rano zamykaliśmy to światło. No i rano ja klękałem przed spaniem a ten Wańka, który ten motor taki diesel był. Czasem był kłopot z tym dieslem, no ale żeby go zapalić, no ale jakoś I on stał, z początku przyszedł, opiec się, oparł tego, mówi, nie przeszkadzał nigdy, ale zapytał się mnie, co ty robisz? Ja mówię, ja się modlę. On mówi, do kogo się modlisz? Ja mówię, do Boga. No i tam zaczęliśmy dyskusję, no ale on później uciekł i A czego się modlisz? Bo ja mówię, ja nie chcę tutaj ginąć i zdychać, to jak tutaj widzisz, jak ile ludzi z baraku wyciągają i gdzieś wywożą, w śnieg wyrzucą i później wilki jedzą, czy co tam tego. Ja chcę jechać na swobodę.
Jakby Pan mógł powiedzieć, jakich tam wyrzucali na śnieg i o tym, czy Pan widział te przypadki, że ludzi wyrzucało na śnieg, że...
Right. No to ten. I za parę tygodni wyszło tak, przecież ta połowa sierpnia, że przyjechał ten NKWD-sta i oznajmił mi, że zwołał zresztą wszystkich Polaków i oznajmił, że my jesteśmy wolni, że będziemy mogli jechać, wstępywać do armii. Że mogliśmy wstępować do sowieckiej armii albo do polskiej armii. Ja powiedziałem wyraźnie, że ja wstępuję do Polski, dlatego że ja nie znam języka, tak żeby no i tak, no dobrze, to na drugi dzień nas tylko 6 się podpisało, żeby wyjechać, bo inni nie wierzyli, tam nikt nikomu nie wierzył, że nas puszczają na wolność. Mówię, tam krzyczeli z tyłu, tam ciebie jeszcze dalej na białe niedźwiedzie zawiozą. Ja mówię, to jaka jest wola boska, to taka będzie.
A kto Panu powiedział o tym, że jest amnestia?
Ten NKWD-sta.
Aha, czyli on normalnie przyszedł i powiedział?
Tak. Tak, i wszyscy musieliśmy podpisać takie udostowierenia, które on mówi, to musisz mieć, jak zechcesz gdzieś dostać kawałek chleba w drodze, to musisz mieć ten kawałek papieru, pokazać. Jeden taki kawałek idzie do Moskwy, a jeden zostaje u nas, tak żeby no i tak wyjechaliśmy. Jechaliśmy wtedy z tym, nas kilku jechało do Komi SSR. Tam byli nasi rodzice i tych moich znajomych też tak samo. No pojechaliśmy, tośmy musieli wracać do Kirowa, z Kirowa do Murasi, z Murasi czekaliśmy na taki statek, który rozwozi sól. I tym statkiem jechaliśmy i wyładowywaliśmy na brzegi ten sól w takich małych miejscowościach nad tą rzeką. No i kiedy dojeżdżaliśmy już do tej miejscowości Obiaciewo, to ja sobie do worka nabrał soli, bo ja wiedziałem, że sól w Sowietach to jest na wagę złota. No i z Obiaciewa pojechaliśmy do jakiś tam ta dziura była. No i tam w każdym razie dojechałem do rodziców. I tam u rodziców naturalnie taki był też ten rukowodziciel, ten co zarządzał pracą, taki, ale był fajny chłop.
In 1939, the Russian army entered our town around 20th of September, and it was the Sunday first time I seen Russian soldiers with the coats were really dirty and shaggy, and the horses with the rope pulling the cannons and things like that, and we, girlfriend of mine and I, and we look at that and we said, that's supposed to be army. So, and they took some Polish soldiers as prisoners, and they settled them in the Count Badeny's stables. They were building the, how you call the Shosa? They are building the road from the Lwów to Kiev by the Polish war prisoners. So these prisoners, they were taken with just the light uniforms, they were called. So we naturally we formed the group, all the ladies and the girls, and we used to cook the soup, the milk, whatever, whoever could donate, warm clothes, and we used to just talk to Russian soldiers, you know, to take their attention away from the prisoners, and we used to distribute that every day. And So that's what we were doing with my sister and I, and of most of young girls and ladies. So, and naturally my father was at home after the Russian took over, and they made us make the pictures, and they made us to apply for Russian passports. And in April 11th, they entered the house about maybe midnight or between midnight 1 o'clock. They searched all house, even the pictures, the albums, everything. I don't know what they were looking, because we didn't keep the arms at home. And they took my father to the station, to the secret police station, and they said they are going just ask him some questions. That's the last time we seen our father in Poland. And on April 12th, they called us to the police station, Russian police station, and they gave us a Russian passport. They gave it to my mother. And April 13th, about 2 o'clock at night, just in the whole house, there were just my mother, myself, my sister, and my little sister. And about 2 o'clock, we heard the motor, the truck, motor truck, and lights beaming to our windows. My mother woke us up in our room, and she said, "Something is happening, children." So after a couple of minutes, we heard the knock from the kitchen door, and the Russian soldier, my mother opened the door, this was on the chain, and she asked him what he wanted. He said he needed the bucket of water to cool off his motor. So my mother grabbed a bucket of water from the kitchen, and she couldn't give it to him with that little opening, so she had to release the chain from the door. After she did that, 6 soldiers entered the house. And they start to search it again. And after they did that, and 6 soldiers and major from secret police, they used to call them NKWE, D. And my father, well, we had most of the valuables hidden, buried in some spots in the garden or someplace. But he had the bag of jewelry, and he said in case something happens, because he went through the first war, being in Russia, he knew what could happen. He said, I put that bag in my bureau in case you just go there, take it, put it someplace so nobody knows, and it will help you for a while. So I went to his bureau, I took that bag of jewelry, and that major, he looked at me, looked at that bag, he said, I know what you have there. Where are you going? You don't need it. And he was right, because I couldn't use gold in Siberia. So after he took the jewelry, then I went, and he told us, we can only take as many things as we can carry. So my mother fainted. My little sister started to cry. My younger sister, she tried to bring my mother up to help her to dress my little sister, Alice. And I was, what could I take? I just went to put the clothes on, and coat, and I went to my room, and I had that blessed statue on my little altar, and I took it to my hand, wanted to put it behind my lapel in my coat or something, and that major came, he hit my hand, and he told me, drop that, whatever he called it in Russian, like some word, not saying too much about it. And that statue fell, and the postament broke, but I grabbed it anyway, and I put it behind my coat, and that's how I still have it up to date. So after this happened, we all got dressed, and we didn't take anything with us because we didn't have no time. And we were all ready to leave the house, and the driver of that whatever the car, we were living in our hallway. There was the rug with the coats, and my father's fur coat, you know, was hanging there, you know, when he used to use it for far, when he used to go far away, you know, by horses. So he grabbed that fur coat of my father. He just throw it on my mother, and he said, "You take that, because this will help you where you're going." And that's what really helped my mother and my sister. So then we, naturally, the driver and the major was sitting in the cabin, and we were in an open truck with 6 soldiers with magnets and all that. So we were living in the last number of our street, Falcon. So after a few houses, there were the lights, the trucks were waiting, and the Russian soldiers said, "You know what they are doing there. They are taking people just like you to Siberia." So we, about half an hour later, we already were on the station, because it was about 7 kilometers from our town. And the wagons, they were like, well, how could I say it? So they used to, how you call this wagon? Cattle cars, something like that, close ones, with the little windows. So naturally they put us in, mostly in our wagon there were 69 people, and mostly from our street. The wives of teachers, of officers, they never came back from war, judges' wives, you know, all intelligentsia, like, you know. So, and naturally they were bringing people from other villages, and because that whole train had about 40 or more that wagons, cattle wagons. So we were there still in the morning. And my aunt, she was living in the beginning of that street. My uncle seen us being taken to the station. So my aunt went to our house, and she took some things and she brought it to the station. So naturally, the Russian soldiers were how you call it, how you call it? I'm getting excited. No, they were just so nobody escapes. So my sister had the belt, so she put the belt through that little window, and my aunt put the big container with clarified butter, about 5 liters or something, some bread, some whatever she could get together, something, you know. So my sister, on that belt, we used to smuggle it into the wagon, because that's what saved us. So after this, the train was there since 2 o'clock at night until about 2 o'clock. It started to move from that station. They closed it on this big, you know, steel. I don't know how you call it. So they didn't open our wagon until in Kiev. That's about, well, going slowly and all this, up about 2 days. So they opened the wagon, and they told the 2, 3 young boys to come down. They gave them the buckets, and first time they gave us boiling water. They called it kipyatok. So anyway, we had some bread, something, and people were sharing things together. Whoever had something, we were all sharing. And for the bathroom, all there was a little hole in the floor, and the wagon had how you call it? You know, because you know. From the boards, they made like a beds, like something, you know. So the people were, you know, like sardines, laying, you know, on 3 stairs of this boards, and the top board fell down, and naturally the people on the lower board, were hurt, somehow. So some lady had the blanket, so we made like a little bathroom, so we didn't have to be embarrassed and all that. So and on each station, the trains were moving. We met some people from northern eastern part of Poland, from Vilno, just crossing, they were just shuffling this train. I don't know how but that one night they took 500,000 of people. They arrested to Siberia. So about beginning of May, finally we reached our destination. That's Kazakhstan, and the station was of Kustanayskaya Oblast. It means like Pennsylvania. So this train stopped. They told us to come down from the train, and the snow was gone already in May. And we all stood there, and then, they saw that, so many people, like families, they kept mothers with children to each, truck, open truck. So, and 21 of us, they sorted to go, to be taken to that village, the collective farm, Zatobolovka. So they took us on that truck. They brought us, that's 25 kilometers from that Kustanay. They brought us by that building, like main building, and they told us to get off the truck, register, look for some place to live. It was up to us. That secret policeman, he told us, you have four sides of the world, whatever you can find. But tomorrow morning you have to come through that street straight, and there was the garages for the combines, for the tractors, which burned few months before. They took all the people, Russian men working there, 300 of them. They sent them to some lagers in northern Siberia. So what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to take the bricks apart, clean it, store it. After we did every day, and they paid us 5 rubles a day. That's all. But in the...
What do you buy for 5 rubles?
That's what I'm going to tell you. In they had like a dining, like building, and what they used to call shchi. It like sauerkraut, water, just boiled, and without and a piece of bread. It cost 3 rubles. But line was so huge, I never could get there in time because we had only half an hour for dinner. So anyway, whatever they paid with money, nothing we could buy with money in Russia. So whatever my aunt brought us, some dresses, some underwear or something. So we were exchanging with Russian people for maybe a cup of milk, a few potatoes, and my mother with that clarified butter, she used to exchange, maybe a couple tablespoons of that butter. She used to exchange for potato, for flour, whatever, So, and we were working, my sister and I. My mother, they didn't touch because there was the little sister. She was only 5, so they let her stay with my little sister. So my mother used to go in the prairies, and they used to sow the sunflowers for oil. After they harvest the sunflower heads, we were allowed to take that stamps, gather it, because in Kazakhstan there are no trees, just these prairies, that's all, and a little like shrubs. So my mother used to go to gather these sunflower stamps, to gather it for winter to cook, at least to make something warm to eat. So after we came from work, I used to go there and whatever she gathered, she brought some, and she left some for me to bring it. And one time I was going with my girlfriend, coming back with that big bunch of that stamps on my back, and the big cloud of mosquitoes. They attacked us, and I got some kind of shock. I started to tear my clothes because they were in my eyes, in my ears, all over. So that's what I thought I was going crazy. Anyway, and meantime they took my younger sister to the dairy. They used to see in Russia, whoever had the cow, they had to take the milk there. They took the cream out, you know, and they let them have that milk without no fat. They let them have it back. So they took my sister to work in that dairy. So I was the only one working in that, clearing the bricks and all that. So after we finished that, they took us to the prairie, and we dig the clay and some straw with our everything primitive by hands and legs, and we had to mix it. They brought us a little boxes, like make the bricks. Then we have to. They made like a roof from straw, but straw was full of wheat. It's so much waste. So mice, they were going like, you know, crazy over there because all this wheat. So we made the bricks, we dried them, then we built the how you call it, the thing to fire them, you know, in the ground. They brought the wood from I don't know where, from whatever, when my husband used to cut them, and we had to make so many thousand of bricks in, and after they were all fired and all that, to take it out, to take it in. When this was raw, it wasn't that bad. But after it was fired, it was so sharp, like a glass. They gave us cotton gloves, but it lasted 5 minutes. That's why my fingers are so deformed, because one could see my bones. You know, it was, you know, grabbing, and because I had to make 5,000 a day. If not, I don't get 5 rubles. Well, anyway, rubles, we couldn't buy much for it, but still. So after we made these bricks, this was, you know, came winter. So winter time, everything's, you know, like September, everything stands still. Nobody works anymore. But meantime, when we, after the work in that making bricks and cleaning bricks and all that, at night they used to come and tell us to go to the prairie to help harvest the wheat. So we were working day and night like slaves. So when it came winter, nobody worked, not Russians, nobody. And meantime, somebody reported my mother had the passports. And they took us to that, you know, office, and that secret policeman, oh, that he got so mad at us. We didn't report we had the passport, because we could travel with the, we could go back, but, well, we were so scared, we were so afraid to whoever thinks, you know what I mean, to travel on, with what? No money, nothing to eat, nothing. So winter time, my aunt sent my father's cape. So a friend of ours, you know, somehow at night, because we were not allowed to move from our village, he went and he exchanged it for 6 poods, that's how to explain it, a little bag of wheat, grain, you know. So then my mother had to give something to the, it was primitive meal-like, you know what I mean? It was just grinded, you know. So that's what kept us alive during the winter. My mother used to sift it, and from that flour she used to make just like starch. You know, she used to use this sunflower sticks under that, that iron things, and they had pots, iron pots, She used to boil the water, no salt, and just put that little something. And I said, Mother, can't you make some dumpling, something? She said, children, there is not enough flour to do that. Just this to keep you warm and satisfied. Once a day, that's what we ate. So, and I forgot to tell you who took us first to give us the little place to stay first. Mrs. Petruniak. Her husband was the main thing in that collective farm. And first night she put us, they had huge, how you call piets, Wiktor? A huge stove, but they were like half of that kitchen, and in the back we could sleep there. So she put us that for time being because she didn't have no room, but we didn't know what to do. We were just standing there waiting for somebody to take us. So, and her husband came late at night with mustache and all this, and we thought he's going to murder us or something. But then, next couple days we got the room, just across that main building, and we were on. And actually all the ladies used to come. And in our little hut, we had about 6 families all together sleeping on that clay floor or whatever, because they all came, they wanted to go south, to the Polish army. So Father stopped it all because of that typhoid fevers, over there on the south. So, and my sister was still working in that building, the garages. So, and the Asiatic flu, they call it 3 days flu. Either one survives or dies. So my sister got it too. But first, who died? The main man of that village, that I don't know how to call him. Well, like mayor or whatever. And he told us, when my mother asked him, if we ever see Poland, he said when he gets his hair grown on his palm of his hand, then we see Poland. He died first. And the Russian people are very good people, because, if they have 2 potatoes and you're hungry, you feeling, like you are going to faint, they will give you one. Yeah. So they were so happy he died, because he was the one taking crosses from the church during the revolution. So they said that's the punishment from God. But, my sister got it. Half of the village died from that flu. And, so naturally, to bury the one, at that time, we had to dig it with big, I don't know how you call it, but heavy thing to. But my girlfriend's grandmother died during the summer, so they dig the grave for her. So when my sister died, they just dig this fresh grave and they put her coffin over the old lady's coffin. But, she knew she was dying because, she had a high fever. But one time she asked for clothing because she had to go to that consulate, to that big city. She had to go there. But before she died, my father and I, we went to the doctor begging at least for aspirin, but he didn't have, he never had it. So when we came, and my mother, we had a little picture of Blessed Black Madonna, over that wooden bed, what we call, and she was laying on that bed. And she wanted to go to the bathroom, and my father, put some bedpan, something, so she could go to the bathroom. And then, she asked for water after that. And my father gave her the water, and my mother was holding her because she was so weak. And, already we could tell because her blood was like blotching on her, from that fever. And I was just lighting the kerosene lamp, and my mother screamed, "Jesus, Mary," and that's how, she just put her down. Before she died, she looked at that Black Madonna picture and she asked us to pray for her. That's her last word before she died. And I just made it, put the light. So naturally, because she worked on that building, that garages, so they gave us some boards to make a coffin for her. Yeah, so we made the coffin, and naturally there is nothing there, no ceremonies, nothing. We kept her, for a day or two until they dig the grave. And we buried her there, and my mother almost lost her mind. Sometimes, we are looking, mother is not there. And it was a prairie village, and then, the cemetery is just nothing there, just graves, and maybe somebody put wooden cross if somebody wanted, and rest a star. If some communists, then they had the, steel-made star, to put on the grave. So we were looking for mother, and there she was on cemetery praying for my sister, yeah. So that's how the winter went, and my sister died, everything. And my father said, I thought I was really tortured and all that, but he said, at least I had that hot water every day, some soup, some bread, and we didn't have to work hard like you did. And for what? Even not enough to eat. Yeah, so that's, when he came, then, like I said, that American people, used to send, like we send it now to disaster areas, the clothing, the food and all that. That's what kept us going, for all winter. And came spring, I went to the school there, and my father helped all the families get together and all that, and we left that. On the railroad station, we left the 2nd of August. We left that big, the station. We came from Poland, So, like I told you, we waited 2 weeks in Tashkent for another train to board, because everything had to be just buy with clothing, with something, When my father, he had something, I don't know. He gave it to the conductor, so he let, because after all, there were almost 100 people of us, so we had to have room to and naturally we got whatever. The Russian soldiers were going from front, so we just find the place up there. So that's how we started to go south and until we reached the Polish army. And with the army we went to, like I told you, we left Russia.
Niech Pani powie, może nazwiska Pani zna. Pamięta Pani nazwiska ludzi, którzy z Panią byli? Jak się nazywają?
My girlfriend, Genevieve Frey, yeah, she was in army with me, then she got married. I think she in England she visited me. Then, on the same, the Mrs. Kral and Christina Kral and Leslie Kral, that's, closest we lived to be, we were friends like. And then Mrs. Von Trubka and 2 sons, Joseph and Stanley. I met Stanley in Italy. So many, but it's. I only remember the closest we lived with, because others, I remember all that, but after the typhoid fever, after the typhoid fever, when I came to Tehran, I didn't remember my own name. I didn't know my father's first name or last name. I just recognized the face when he came to the ambulance to meet me. That's how, the high fever, one loses so much, but little by little, it came back to me, but not all of it. Picture memory I do have. I recognize faces and everything, but names, it's so hard for me. And then, Russian names, that first lady gave us Piets, how you call it? Stove, but it's not a stove, it's built in half of the kitchen, because they had to burn that, they don't have wood to burn, they burn what cow manure, They mix it with the grass or straw, whatever they could get. They dry it, they store it, and that's what they heat the houses, the clay huts with, and cook on.
Niech pani opisze, jak wyglądał pokój, na przykład dom, gdzie pani mieszkała przez te 2 lata.
The first, like I told you, that stove, big, built-in stove, and my mother, all of us, 4 of us, it's like half of that room. See, here is when they burned, then the heat goes through that whole thing and to the chimney, and it's warm there. So that's how we were there only for about a couple of weeks in that Mrs. Petrunyakova, Petrunyak. Her husband was high in that collective farm, he was like managing it. So after that, the Russian lady, her husband went to war. The children were taken by the husband's family, mother, because she was playing with the secret police and all that. So she was going to some kind of course or something to get better education because she was working for secret police. So she asked my mother to take her, this was just kitchen, the big stove, and she had she had wooden floor in the room, and in that kitchen, it was clay floor, but the stove was round, big, like round. So half heated that room, and half was we cooked on it and all this in the kitchen. See, that's how. And furniture, there was none. Just few boards and a few sticks, boards put on it, that's your bed, that's all we had. And my mother and my sisters, they were sleeping on that stove, well, whatever you call, they call it pechka. And they were covered with that fur coat of my father. And we, my sister and I, I forgot to tell you the main thing. When Russian came to Poland, my mother instead, they wanted all of us to go to Russian schools, to the Shetoletka. So my mother paid, there were 2 ladies, one was dressmaker, but she was like fashion, 2 sisters, and one was hat maker, she fashioned the hats and all that. So my mother gave him whatever, because nobody wanted the money when the Russian came. So my mother gave her whatever they needed to eat to survive on, and they took me as to teach me how to make dresses and this. And I was there since school started. That when they came, school started at about October, and until they took us to Siberia. So I was there quite about 6 months. So when winter time, I was nothing to do. And one Russian woman in few villages, she was the only one who had a sewing machine. So she made a deal with me. She said, I have some, and her husband was another official in that collective farm. So she made a deal with me. She said, you can sew. I have the sewing machine. If you sew for me for nothing, and later on you can sew for other people on my machine, and whatever they can give you, the potato or milk or whatever, or piece of bread or something, you can sew on my machine. That's how we survived the winter. But winter time, nobody had anything. They all promised me to give me on the springtime few potatoes, cup of milk, this and that. But I was the type I couldn't. Came the springtime, I couldn't go and ask for it. But my sister, the one that died, she was more. She said, well, they own it to you. Why don't you? Well, she used to collect it, And people are good. When they had it, they gave us. Another thing, that winter too. We were snowed in that we were living, we were living in that house, because it had wooden floor, about only summertime. And later on, the next door, she had a hut, like clay hut, made from clay, from. She signed it to my mother because her husband was transferred. He was a mechanic in that tractors factory, the garages. He was transferred someplace else, so she had to go. So she signed, she leased that hut house to my mother. Because my mother, when we got the packages or something, she had 9 children, and the youngest one and 1 cow, and she still had to give the milk to take the cream off, and she only had the skim milk for children. So my mother used to give her, you know, all the, whatever we got in package, a little honey, sugar, this and that. She used to give it to her because she said, well, you are bigger, and for Alice, I still live enough. But that poor woman, she has 9 kids like that, and the younger one was born already looking old, you know. So after she left, she gave us, she leased that hut to my mother. That's how we were allowed to plant the and they called them for every so often for interview, you know, interview. They wanted him to sign the confession he was guilty of being, you know, against the communists and all that. So naturally my father never signed anything because, you know, it was signed for his death, you know, signature for his death. But he said the secret police, sometimes they were so angry, you know, and they told him to put his head on the table in front of him. So he put his head there, and in the back of the room they were, how you call the strzelby? Guns, rifles standing up there on this, you know, stands. So the secret police, he threw the head by the guns. He said to my father, go and get it. My father said, oh no, you throw it, you get it. See, if my father is being so, you know, go, and they could shot him like he was reaching for the guns. And he said, you know, they were torturing like mentally like that all the time. Yeah. So the only time when they had piece of little more peace when they brought that soup and food to them. That's how they could eat, at least, you know. And sometimes my father said even during the time they fed them, they still, you know, being mean, asked some of them for you know, questioning. That's what, yeah. So and coming back to my meeting with Wolf face to face.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, could you start the whole thing, say, coming back to my meeting with
Oh, naturally. Oh, yeah. Yeah. When I was, see, I went to that Kustanai big city, you know, this was like Harrisburg here, because of I could get bread there in lines, you know. I stood in lines, and I had some friends, they already moved there to big city and closer to the Polish consulate and all that. So I had place to stay. We had chapel there and priest. Oh, the first time when priest came and he had the services, oh, people cried, you know, after 2.5 years. But then I bought, you know, I stayed in line, and I bought, you know, a few loaves of bread and some rolls and all this, and I had that thing on my back, you know. So early in the morning, you know, I said to my friends, well, I better go back to my village, because my mother and father, you know, this was the winter times. Snow was, you know, all the time, you know, real deep. But that night, fresh snow fell. And I was walking, instead of going down on this side of that river Tobol, I was walking on the high bank, you know. And, you know, I had the shoes we used to wear for skiing, you know. And, you know, going deep in the snow like that, you know, my soles started to rip open because it was like sewed hands. I don't know if they still make it in Poland like that, you know. We screw our skis to it. And anyway, my shoe was ripping open. And then, you know, because fresh snow fell, I couldn't see where when the slates used to go. And then, you know, I see on the far away something, you know, laying there. I come closer, and that's the fork, you know, fork for hay or whatever. So I said, oh, now it will help me to get out of that deep snow, you know, I can help myself to dig, you know, walk. I walk few, maybe, I don't know, 1/4 of the mile or something, and I look, you know, I'm on, this is the top of the bank, and there is the river. There is the wolf sitting and looking at me. And, you know, I was so brave because I had that fork in my hand. I said, I'm not afraid of wolf. If he attacks me, I will kill him. We're having all this bread and rolls for my family. But somehow he must have ate some sheep from that Kazakhs, you know, village, because they were living separately, you know, Kazakhs, you know, they hated Russians. I have to tell you the story about, you know, that his, that main, he was their spiritual leader for that whole region, you know. And somehow, because my mother, we always, everybody gathered in our place somehow. So I guess he thought my mother was a spiritual leader also to our, you know, people or something. But I remember when he first came with his little boy. See, they were the furs, you know, from sheep, winter and summer. Winter time they were the fur in, and summertime fur out. You know, somehow they don't get the heat, the sun. And he came with little boy, his son, little boy, and we used to kid my little sister. He is probably coming, you know, to propose the marriage when they come to the age or something. Anyway, he came to, you know, and he talked to my mother. They speak very poor Russian, you know. They hate Russian language and Russian people. And he talked to my mother, and he said to my mother, you know, when you came, when they brought you here, this was our first sign of our freedom, first sign. But there will be the time from over the Vistula River, they will elect the leader. He will be light, with light complexion, light hair, and he will be leading all of you people, and then we will get our freedom. So we thought, oh, maybe, you know, Czechs and Slovaks and Polish and Ukrainians get together and they find some, you know, military men real strong and form the army and fight the communism, you know, communists. So, and, you know, I forgot, but there is the book, Rodzina Korzeniewskich, I think, the same, because this is the legenda, repeated all over, you know, this Kazakhs, Uzbeks, all these people. And when he, you know, he told my mother that, and now when 1978, when our Pope was elected, right away, I seen the Kazakhs, his son, and the story he told my mother. That's the leader.
Jeszcze
Yeah.
chciałem się zapytać, czy dzieci były uczone przeciwko swoim, mówić przeciwko swoim
Yeah.
rodzicom?
Yeah.
Może Pani o tym powiedzieć, czy Pani zna jakieś takie przypadki?
Oh yes, the children, the parents, even not only small children, but even bigger children, grown, I mean teenagers, the parents never talked anything with about religion or politics, anything with the children, because they were asked in schools, you know, like that Mrs. Petruniak's, you know, her daughter was a teacher. And she was so afraid of, you know, but she, to us, she was so, because she had everything buried, you know, from the church. The chalices, the clothing and everything. And she said, I hope someday I can give it back to church. But, you know, that day didn't come. She's probably dead by now, yeah. But the children, yes, they were, you know, in schools, they were asked all the questions, what do you parents talk about, this and that. So many parents were arrested for just, even child was maybe angry with mother or father, and they just said, told lies. They didn't care. Well, like, you know, if you read that book of, what's his name, they told him to leave Russia. He wrote few books. the cancer ward. That's exactly, he's writing there, he was there in 50s, and I was there in 40s. Exactly the same thing about the hospital, how poor they were supplied and all that.
Pani była w szpitalu, może pani coś powiedzieć o tym?
No, my girlfriend's mother was in a hospital in that big city, the Tehran. Oh yes, I was there when I had blood poison in this hand. But I went there only for like just to look over. But then when they see the blood poison, my father knew because I had black vein going up already. So they cut it, and then I had to go to that like outpatient for cleaning for a whole week. But they were very primitive. See, in the hospital, sometimes they didn't have aspirins either, you know. When they didn't have supplies, they didn't have it. Yeah, what else you would like to know? And naturally, you know, like if parents died or something, they took children, you know, to orphanage or something, and they were just raised there and taught, you know, like real communists. And you know, when they brought us there to that village, you know, naturally the young teenagers, you know, they were interested how was in our country. He said because they were taught in schools in Poland, the rich people were plowing with, the poor people were like slaves. They were like animals. They were plowing the soil. They were doing everything for rich people. And they asked us if we had slaves like that too. See, that's the way they were taught young people. Yeah.
Czy pani zna jakieś przypadki, że dzięki takiemu wychowaniu, dzięki dzieciom rodzice poszli na Syberię, czy poszli do jakichś gorszych łagrów?
No,
Może dzieci coś właśnie powiedziały przeciwko rodzicom?
not in my village, no, I don't. But I heard the stories that people told me, but I didn't witness it.
Pani może coś opowie?
Well, they were, you know, like they were told, you know, like any time, you know, the child or whatever didn't like, even neighbor didn't like the neighbor. They went to the secret police, they told them the lies, and the next day people were gone. You know, nobody knew where and whatever happened to them. Yeah. And, you know, when Stalin was making that collective farms, you know, and this was in the early 30s, yeah. So they took last grain of whatever they had in, you know, Russian people, last potatoes to start these collective farms, the oxes, everything. So naturally next year, this was such a starvation, people were dying like flies on the street. So the only thing they told me, some of them, they did it too, young people. They just cut the liver because it was still warm, and they ate it from the dead person. Yeah. So that I was told by Russian people, they did it.
Kiedy to było?
In the early 30s, when Stalin started the collective farms. Yeah. They said in whole Russia, the secret police over there, the army doesn't have anything to do with people, just secret police. So they came from the house to house, search, and the last grain they took it, last potatoes they took it to start the new, you know, the new farm, the collective farm. And they say, you know, God must be merciful because that river Tobol, you know, over the flat on the spring when snow started to melt so fast, the flood was so great. The water came to the village, to the streets, and fish plentiful. That's how they started to come to the health and whatever. Yeah, they said God sent that fish, you know. So whoever survived. But a lot of people perished just from starvation. Yeah, but they were, you know, if anybody killed another person to eat, they were punished for it. They were sent. You know, Wiktor was sitting with one guy. They killed their own daughter, but how they wanted, they asked their own daughter to bring the girlfriend from the school and stay overnight. So they were prepared to kill the girlfriend and tell the daughter she left early or something and consume her, cut her to pieces. But during the night, somehow the girls changed the places, and they killed their own daughter. Yeah. So he was sitting with one guy, with that father of that. Yeah. But Wiktor said he was like losing his mind, and from doing it.
His name was Kozin.
Kozin, yeah. See, I remember more Russian names, like that mayor of that village, Heidelbergers or mayor or whatever. His name was Kushpin. That the Pani Petruniak, and that Marusha. I forgot her name. She always play. She was like prostitute to the secret police. And many times when she brought them she was living in that house too. So my mother took us all to behind that, that stove and hide us because, one never knows. Because they brought some vodka and all this. After they finished vodka, they start to drink that cologne, strong cologne. So they were crazy. So my mother always hide us, so they don't. She asked that Marusha not to tell them she has young daughters. Yes.
towards you and point out
It's
where
often because
it was broken.
Oh, it was broken.
Okay, one more time, please. Put it on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, now pick it up and hold it towards you.
Especially take a picture of this broken part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
show where they broke it. Okay, point towards it.
Yeah, it used to be like that.
Okay.
All broken.
Okay, thank you very much. Now for the photograph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't make
Okay, let me focus on it first, please. Okay.
Keep it longer.
Yeah, I wanted to get it a couple times.
Robiliśmy zdjęcia.
Okay, please put it back on the table. Okay, and try and hold it in the same place you were holding it before.
Mm-hmm.
Listu, który jeden pan miał z 40 roku. Napisał do rodziny, wyrzucił przez okno pociągu. Rodzina dostała.
Okay, one more time, please.
Put it back.
Yeah.
Potem mu po kilku latach zwrócił.
Okay, now pick it up and hold it
z
towards
40 roku. Orzełka sobie zrobił też z tego, z łyżki.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Say that again.
Yeah, about this is the.
You stole your first head of cabbage.
See, I was waiting behind that hut, clay hut, and when the oxes were carrying, that cabbage, I just, grabbed one and I just went back and I ate it all. I waited for second cart to come over, then I stole it and then I took it to my mother too. Because I never ate raw cabbage before that. It was that winter, tough one, but I was so hungry I didn't care. Okay.
Maybe from the very low angle, no?
Well, do you want to lower the top of this?
41. And
Jak wojna wybuchła
z Niemcami, tak,
co oni tam mówili o tym?
właśnie.
Może nazwiska jakieś pani pamięta?
No, wie pan, po tyfusie to się nie pamięta nazwisk. Ja miałam 2 tyfusy na
Niech
raz.
pani o tym opowie.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, anytime you're ready.
Okay. So when I was still working on that garage for combines and all that, we started to build a new one. This was 1941 summer, June. I think June 21st or 2nd. And naturally, the Russians, they knew the Hitler invited to Russia and, invasion on Russia and all that. And they were so happy about it. And they were they trusted us. So I said, don't be so happy because Hitler is no better than Stalin. And they said, even if devil comes, it must be better than what we have now. So this was the day the truck comes and I see my mother on it and secret police and some mothers of my girlfriends working with me on that building that new garage. And that secret policeman, he came and he just took me and my girlfriend, and her brother, few from and he said, let's go on the truck. Your mother is there, your mothers are there, and we are taking you to build the new railroad to another state, how was the name, I forgot. Well, I remember later on. So they took us by that truck, open truck, for about 2 days or 3 days, to that point. They brought us there. It was just a step, and we're supposed to build the railroad. So first, you better shut it off.
Is it starting? Anytime you're ready.
Okay. So when I finished, when they took us to the day the Hitler invaded Russia, they took us from that building, that new garage, they took us to build the railroad. So my mother first day they brought us to the prairie. They had only, you know, like some kind of, they made the roof and some boards, and they made like a bed, boards, that's all. So the first thing, they took us to the day it was already started. They took us there. We supposed to, nighttime when the train came with the sand, we supposed to empty this. In the morning, we went there and we put that wood thing, how you call it, I don't know in English. And then the railroad, you know, the steel rails, you know. And each one had to make every day so much. If not, you wouldn't get your piece of bread and cup of water every day. We got that when we came from work. That's what our whole day supply. And once a week they gave us, you know, some kind of buckwheat or barley, fine barley or something, you know, a big cup of it. So we're supposed to cook it ourselves for whatever we. But the water was full of larvae from mosquitoes, because they brought it from the lake on that prairie. So naturally, so many people got sick, you know, like the dysentery, you know, bloody dysentery. And my mother, first day we went to work, you know, to build that railroad. My mother got some kind of sunstroke or something. They took her to the doctor, and the doctor was the lady, woman doctor, and she knew a few words, you know, of Polish, because she was the descendant of the Polish soldiers during the uprising in, you know, when Poland was taken by Russia, Austria, and, you know, so they were sent to Siberia, and they married there, and they left the family. So she told to take my mother back where they took her from. They didn't even bring her back to that camp. And I was left alone. Well, I had my girlfriend's mother and all that. So I was very sick. And I couldn't work because I was so weak. I had high fever, you know, and all this. But somebody was, when they called my number, was taking my portion of my daily supply of bread and water. So we were working day and night like that, and they only took the camp father had when we made 25 kilometers of that railroad, then they moved our camp. And meantime, you know, I had a dream, like I seen this the plane, and then came closer. It was like eagle and the two red and white ribbon, you know, like in V. I told that to the ladies, and they said it means something. 2 weeks later comes the secret police and told us the Polish general made the agreement with General Sikorski, and we are free to go to either Polish army or Russian army. So naturally we went to that little city to get the papers. And I went there, and they told me I'm owning them 88 rubles for bread when I didn't work. So the friends made in a coal wagon. They made at night. They made a little like hut for me, and they put me there. You know, they smuggled me out of there because I'd be lost. All among this, you know, they brought some people from from other parts of Russia. You know, the train was all ready to go, and the soldiers were guarding that coal with German Shepherd, like mine, Rexy, and that dog smelled me, and then another soldier called him. I said, "Oh boy, good, thanks to God, I'm saved." So anyway, after we reached our destination, the train went different direction. When they digged me out of that coal, I was like a devil himself. Anyway, then each went we all parted to our own villages, you know, to our families. So I was the only one and one friend, and the rest, they already stayed in Kustanay, that big city, you know, that. So then the flood was there. I had to wait until, you know, we could, river Tobol, until I could cross it and all that. When I came, you know, early in the morning, and my mother, when she seen me, oh boy, she was so happy. She thought she could never see me again because she didn't hear from me. So, and then she said, I was wondering, you know, how we survived that without no vitamins, nothing. But when she was harvesting that sunflower sticks, some pieces of heads were there, and she saved that seeds. And wintertime, we were so hungry, she used to give us you know, a handful of it, and we used to chew on it, you know. When I came, but my mother was already rich because she could planted some potatoes. She made some sauerkraut, you know, because we were already free. And then she, you know, the men used to come from the like Wiktor was in that, you know, labor camps and this. And my father, we never heard from father. So one day my mother went to I don't know where, but we were just tightening the windows with some. And then my little sister Alice said, look, there is some man standing there in the doorway. I looked back, my father, I thought I was seeing a ghost. And father, when he was free from that prison, political prison, he went to Alma-Ata, because they were all our, you know, whatever, you know, who was where, like how you know, register. We were all registered there. He found out where, and he found us. It was October. My sister was still working on that building, that garages, and you know, from the bricks. So when my father came, and everybody right away, they wanted to go south to the Polish army. My father said, I just came from there. People are dying like flies from typhoid fever. Don't go now. We stay winter here, then we go. So naturally in that big city, you know, Kustanai, you know, the Polish, you know, they formed the Polish like consulate, you know, right away, and we got American goods, you know, to help us clothing and when things to eat. And my father, you know, they made him like the man used to distribute it, in who the people really needed it. So anyway, and I went to, they opened the school there too right away, so I went there, and my father, when he was free from prison, he had the paper only to take the family out of Russia plus 2 people. And his friends, his friend also had the family there, his brother and 2 wife and so instead 2, they put 42. So each had 42 people they could take from Russia to Polish army. So they took all the, like, you know, the wives and children. The officers, they died, they were shot in cutting. Naturally, they couldn't come to get them. So they were just doomed to stay there. So that's how my father and friends, we took 80 people out of Siberia like that. That's, I was sick on typhus after I crossed the border. See, when we were going from the station to station in Tashkent, we waited for 2 weeks for the train to board. We had to pay, you know, and the train, the Russian soldiers wounded were already coming from the front. And one time I felt like something bit me. I went to the, well, you know, the bathroom, and there was the lice. You know, so big and already with my blood. You know, that's the typhus, the lice spread the disease. And meantime, when trains stopped during the traveling, just in any place, we were hungry. So with whatever we had, the Kyrgyz women, they had little pieces of bread and fruit or something. Who had water to wash the hands or something? There's another typhoid fever, stomach, you know, through the fruits or whatever. So one time I almost got lost because the train started to go, and I was, you know, buying the food to eat, and I almost grabbed the last wagon, you know, somehow I caught it. My father thought I was lost. So that we were coming, and then we reached the Polish army and already registered, and tomorrow we are leaving. Tomorrow we are closer to the Krasnovodsk. That's the port on Caspian Sea. So when we reach that Krasnovodsk, that port, they told us to put everything, on that sand. That sea was full of oil. I wanted to bathe. I made a mistake. My husband, later we told our stories. He did the same. Water looked so beautiful, clean. When we went to that water and came out with all this crude oil on us. So anyway, they told us to leave all the papers, all the photographs, everything, just to take the documents we're supposed to take, and that's it, and closing too. So my mother begged my father, leave everything, I don't want anything, just let us go from Russia. So then she was so weak, because everybody had to enter that ship on their own feet. Nobody was allowed to be carried there. So we just help her mother, to walk on that ship, on that trap to go up. And on the ship, there is the bathrooms. The people are sick with dysentery, with typhoid, with anything. So everything, we didn't have time to stay in line to go to the bathroom. So when that ship, when I looked after we left the ship in Pahlavi in Iran, when I look at that ship, it was yellow and red and all over. People had to go to the bathroom. They just did it over the board, and that's it. So then, we had to go through the... my mother got sick right away. She got the water in her lungs and all that. So they took her right away. They called it the dirty camp, when they brought us from that ship. They took her from there with ambulance to Tehran. And after a few days, we had to go through the bath, and they look if they had the lice in our heads, or whoever had the lice, they had to shave their heads, So, the girl, my mother kept us clean, so naturally they didn't. But as soon as they gave us all clean clothes and everything, soon as I left that showers and all that, I got high fever, real high. 2 weeks after that lie bit me. That's about 2 weeks when typhus is in your system and hits, So then naturally they took me to the hospital, and I had 2 typhoid fevers at once. This was end of the, beginning of September, end of August, and 1st of October I got the crisis. But the nurses told me I used to have such a fever, and I used to grab my pillow and run to the Caspian Sea, and I said they're ringing to the church, so I had to go to the church. So, and then after, they were closing that hospital. This was 3rd Army Hospital. My father, when he left me there, he left me like I will be dead, and that's it. He left some money with his friend Dr. Wiewiórski from the city he came from, and he said, just at least make different burial for her, not like everybody else. So after I came to, after the crisis, and they told us, to get our clothes, they were all disinfected. That's all ready? Not yet? They were all, and my pink dress got blue off the coat and all that, but I was so hungry. So that Dr. Wiewiórski brought me the money father left for me. And the Arab little boys, they were selling hard-boiled eggs and oranges and all that. And I was so hungry, I bought myself a dozen of hard-cooked eggs and a dozen of oranges. And I ate it all. And then they took us to ambulances, and between Pahlavi and Tehran, they were like serpentines, when the buses and ambulances go, it's really, people get sick, like seasick from it. I wasn't sick. And after, you know, doctor told me, good thing I ate, after each egg, I ate orange. If not, I would probably get my intestines all, you know, winded up, screwed up and all that. So, but